Howdy folks, beautiful morning up here in northern Wisconsin. Doing the livestock and homestead update video today. Just kind of summarizing what's been going on, where we're at right now, aspirations for the future, big stuff. So this is the back area for the house. It's where the chicken coop is, it's where they hang out, run. You can see it's all fenced in. That was accomplished within the last few days. The original run was very small right near that door. I can tell they like it a lot better now, so it's pretty great. Coop's just a standard 4x8x4 building, nothing really special. It's got a little window so they can tell what time of day it is. I got to add ventilation to it, but other than that, it's not anything crazy. You got the board right there that goes across that. That's how I get in and, clean the place. I just put that up there when I don't want anything else getting in, wild animals and whatnot, but they're out here, so if anyone's going to get them, they're going to get them now. Back here is a storage area. I bought this roofing as a discount. This was $10 per sheet. These are 14 feet long, and they were cheap because they were top pieces, which means they have like writing and shit on them. It's for a coop. I didn't really give a shit. $10 per sheet for a 14-foot sheet is pretty damn good. So, as a consequence, I got this cool little storage area now. I'm going to be putting some tarp along the... Oh, what are you guys doing? Putting some tarp along back here to make it kind of enclosed, so that way it doesn't get as much rain in here. But right now, it's just kind of good to keep basic elements off it with this roof. Got my generator back here, some scraps, kerosene, gasoline, straw, sand, some fucking DE, stuff like that. Now this generator, I personally recommend this generator, this Champion 2000 watt. I don't know if they sell this anymore, but this fucking thing is absolutely amazing. This thing is so fucking good. It runs great. It puts out a lot of power. It's more than I need personally. If you really reduce your power consumption, you really don't need more than 2000 watts, even for like a 4-person family, I'd say. Just runs great, simple to service, comes apart real easy. Maintenance is very simple. All around good generator. I know the Hondas are pretty good. People say the Hondas are good. I've never had a Honda generator. I've usually only worked with Champions, but I gotta say this little boy's good. I'll start him up so you can hear him. Alright, so big thing is you want to make sure that's set to on. Most of the settings I have set here correctly. This is set to on. Set the engine on. We're going to pull the choke out for the first pull. Press the fucking button. Push it back in. Sometimes you have to pull it for 2. It's kind of cold this morning. There you go. Now that's probably a good 50 decibels, and it's kind of loud because I'm standing right next to it. But if you were inside, you can't hear this thing one bit. This is a real nice generator. It's got an economy mode right there, or whatever the hell that stands for. I'm going to shut this off so you can hear me. Usually it's not good to let it run like that, but I don't usually do that very often, so just for the sake of demonstration. It's got an economy mode, which is really nice. I don't see this on most generators. Basically, it only revs the engine as much as necessary for the wattage currently being used. That's huge because it saves a shitload of gas. It's got a 1-gallon tank, and if you run it at 25% load, you get about 9 hours worth of power out of that. I don't use this all continuously. I have it on and off a lot. So that is huge. I mean, that's like 2 days worth of power for me. I mean, that's nice. So I highly recommend this fucking little generator. If you ever find one, pick it up. It's fucking great. I got this kerosene when I was down south. They have kerosene pumps. $3 a gallon. Up here, it's $9 a gallon. I gotta find a pump around here because I'm not paying fucking $9 a gallon for fucking kerosene. Generator used to be over there near where that hole is. I was gonna originally bury it to muffle the noise, but then, once this was built, it just made more sense to put it over here. So, yeah, I mean, this area's changed quite a bit over, I'd say the last month or so. But, I mean, for the better. It's nice. Got clothes racks. Got 2 pairs of jeans on there right now. I had them out earlier. It rained like non-stop for 2 fucking weeks, and that was pretty shit. So I was trying to dry my clothes. I had them out for fucking like 2 weeks. Finally, it's nice out. Got some breeze going on. It's sunny. It's supposed to be 60 today, so hopefully they'll dry off because they were still pretty wet. So here's the place, the cabin. Technically my house at this point because this is where I live. Real quaint, 12 by 12, you know, simple place. It's got a stove. I got to fix the chimney right now because it's kind of leaking, but it's just from a joint up there. But yeah, just a real simple place. It's got everything I need. It's got a bed with a bunch of shit on it, desk, table, fucking record player and other shit center. Just good shit in general. We got some stuff going on in here. Now you may be wondering, you know, Alec, how is there electricity in this place if you don't have the generator on? Well, I'll tell you. Up here, that's why I got the ladder out. Usually this ladder is hung up, see those nails? It's hung up like that, and it stays out of the way. I mean, unless you're like 7 feet tall or some kind of goony shit like that. Up here, we've got the battery. There we go. I was able to turn the flash on here. All right, so we got a battery here. This one doesn't work, so just kind of ignore it. We got this boy. I bought this ages ago. I don't think it's actually a deep cycle battery. I think it's just a giant fucking car battery, which is stupid, but you know, I bought it before I really knew what the fuck I was doing, so at least it works. I mean, if it's fully charged, it'll run for 4 or 5 hours. I don't know what wattage I use on the average. I got to calculate that shit out, but it's pretty good. It takes a while to charge. I've got a 1 amp charger down over there. I'm going to be switching that out with a nicer one. I think I got it over here. Yeah, but it's a 3-prong. I got a 3-prong outlet up here. I'll be redoing the electrical in here pretty soon. But yeah, so I got this 400 watt inverter here. Got it from Walmart, I think. This is only like 30 bucks. These things are dirt cheap these days. So, I mean, whatever the wattage I'm using in here, it's apparently under 400 watts. So, I mean, my profile here, electrically speaking, is extremely low. So that just runs over there. I got a GFCI switch behind all those coils. I'll show that off in a minute. But basically, I got this running right now. I charge this battery when I have the generator on, so I get an additional 4 to 5 hours of power after running the generator. I'd say 1.5 gallons, maybe a gallon. I still have to measure out exactly the efficiency of charging this battery. I don't know how depleted it is. I don't know if I have to add water. I don't know. But yeah, this is the attic. I just store stuff up here. I got to finish insulating. That's why that roll of insulation's there. I got to shop vac, some other shit. Some tools, you know, things like that. It's a nice storage area. If this wasn't here, I don't know what the fuck I'd do, because I don't know where I'd put everything, but I got to organize this a little bit better. But right now, it does what it needs to do. So let's go back downstairs. All right, so I'll show off the electrical system. So we got 2 inputs here. One comes in from the outside from that extension cord from the generator. And then the other one, sorry, I got this covered right now. That runs up over to the battery. Up that way. I gotta make that look a little bit better, but that runs up over there. And I've got a GFCI switch. I don't even think you can see it because it's so fucking dark back here. There we go. All right, so you got a GFCI switch here. This just makes sure that any weird shit that happens between the grounding outside and here, or with the battery or whatever, it'll flip and prevent damage to any electrical components. As long as the fault occurs behind this. If a fault occurs after this, you know, it's, you know, not much you can do about that, but the risk of that happening inside versus outside is pretty low. So it's just nice to have that kind of assurance. And that runs down. I'm going to eventually be redoing this electrical system. Actually going to use NMB and conduit, stuff like that, make it actually like not retarded. But you know, it just runs down to an extension cord, all that kind of shit. It's kind of ghetto rigged right now, but I'm hoping in the future it'll be less like that. I got the flash off. Now, yeah, it's just real simple in here. It's got everything you need. It's really easy to heat now that the insulation's in. I barely have to get this thing up to 300 degrees to heat this up like 30 or 40 degrees. Not to 30 or 40, but a delta of 30 or 40 degrees. I have to see how that is more when it's actually, you know, cold out. It's not cold out yet. It's usually like 40 at night, 50 during the day, 60 today, so pretty nice. Eventually I'll be sheathing these walls. You're like, oh, you got the insulation exposed. I'll be sheathing them eventually. I'm going to start with the stuff near the stove so it doesn't fall on the stove while I'm gone or asleep and start a fire. But, you know, just not a huge priority right now. I haven't had to use this thing much. I used it like twice when it got down in the low 30s at night. But other than that, I haven't really had to use this yet, which is good because I need to split wood desperately, so, you know. But yeah, I actually have satellite internet here, and I'm amazed that the router for it does not use much power. I mean, it barely uses anything. It's like 10 watts, and it's able to fucking talk to space. I don't understand how that shit is so fucking low profile, but it's really nice. Costs not that much. Latency's kind of high, so I can't, do some things, but it's really not that bad. I don't have a lot of time to use the computer these days anyways, so it's more of just an entertainment kind of thing. But yeah, it's my desk area, some feed, bed. That's about it for this place. Oh, and I got this sign here. I'll probably include a picture. I've got this exact sign. I printed out 2 copies of these and laminated them. One of them's on the grave of the original Shit Shack over in Heartland, and it's on like a cross, which, story behind that is, back in the day, when we were finding a place to put this first Shit Shack, we marked the site with a cross that had this quote on it from Life of Brian, Monty Python. And it's just one of those things where I look at it and I think about how far I've come, how far the shit tradition's gone. It's just funny to me. Alright, we're back outside again. I'm just going to show a few more things off, and we'll wrap this up here. So over here I've got some stuff for cooking. I don't actually use this thing very much. If I have friends or guests over, I'll cook something on the grill, but generally it takes too much prep work. It's not really worth it. This thing, however, is really good as a table, and I use it for this thing down here, which is just a propane stove. Now, this thing is extremely efficient as far as propane use goes, and for cooking things when I don't have the wood stove going, you really can't beat that. As far as that's concerned, that's how I do most of my cooking. Once winter hits and I got the wood stove going more, I'll be doing that. If I cook steaks and stuff and it's not, snowy outside, I'll usually start a fire, because I like how that tastes personally. But yeah, just a propane hookup here. This probably lasts like a good month and a half on one full tank. It costs $16 to change out the tanks, so it's $16 for a month and a half of a stove, so it really works out pretty well. If it weren't as efficient, I don't think this would be a very viable method, but fortunately it just doesn't seem to use that much shit, so yeah, it's pretty nice. And I'll show you what I'm using for cold storage right now. In the winter, I got to build a root cellar type things. That's what this thing is for. This is actually just empty. My actual garbage can is over there. I'm going to be burying this and putting a hay bale on top of it and then covering it with a tarp. Basically what that's going to do is it's going to keep this about 40-50 degrees in the middle of the winter when it's below freezing, and that'll allow me to store things that can't freeze or they'll get ruined, so like milk, root vegetables, other water-based things. So that's a huge advantage. I just have to do that, probably going to do it in the next few days. But right now, because it's not below freezing yet, this is my wood pile, by the way. That's all the wood I've got. I desperately need to split more because I don't have enough to get through fucking a week, let alone 6 months. This is what I use to store perishables right now. Just a cooler with a giant ice block in it. Right now it's really cold out, so ice block lasts a long time. And this works surprisingly well. I mean, you'd be surprised. This is an old cooler, so it's not as effective. I'm going to close this so it doesn't lose most of its cool, but it's older, so it's not as effective, but it gets the job done. That's the big thing. So last but not least, I got my fire pit over here. I'll show that off. Why not? This is where I usually cook a lot of my meats. If it's not snowy out, I like the flavor of fire cooked steak. It's just, you can't beat it. With steak, you don't have to be as careful about how you cook it so you don't get sick, which is kind of nice. But last but not least, we got the outhouse back here, which is what this blind's for. I'd like to build a more permanent solution in the future, but right now I don't have the money, so you just have to deal with what you got. Alright, so this place is pretty simple. I originally tried hanging these on here, but it got so wet that they got ruined, so I have to toss those. So that's the toilet. It's a bucket with a lid on it. You shit in there, and when it's about half full, I go dump it out with the rest of the animal bedding. I've got a compost pile over there that I'll show off. And if you mix it in and all that, it composts very well, and you really can't tell that there's any shit even in there. That's kind of the thing. That's the whole point of composting. Now, the theory that I've been explained is that I've got these from back when the chickens were just chicks. I had the flake bedding before I started using straw 'cause it's cheaper. You just put that over your shit, and it prevents the anaerobic decomposition that you usually associate with shit smelling bad. And so far, I've had very good luck with that. So I'm glad, because otherwise I'd be fucked as far as this is concerned. You know, it's kind of bohemian, I'd say. Not a lot of people would want to do this, but I mean, you got to do what you got to do, and this works. So, you know. All right, now back here is the compost bin, or not bin really. It's just a joining of two rocks where I throw most of my bedding and all that. So it'll slowly compost over time. We got it right here. I just mix all that stuff in there, and in about a year that'll turn into some good soil right there for gardening and whatnot. So pretty excited for that. It's just kind of nice that this rock junction here works well for storing that kind of stuff. It's a natural valley here, so I'll be able to compost pretty effectively. I might add a few more things on top, like some pallets or something, so I can stack a little bit higher, but you know, for now that's working pretty good. All right, so this is a shed that I built fucking a long time ago. One of the first things I did when I got this property was build this shed. I actually lived in here, not lived, but when I was up here, I stayed in here when I was building the cabin that's now my house. This is an exact replica of the third shack that I built back in Goose Lake that got me arrested 7 days after it was finished. And the design works pretty well. I had to replace the roof with another... Jesus Christ, I can't talk, sorry. I had to replace the roof with another tarp. There's a camo tarp that's under this one, but it got really fucked up. Mainly because I wasn't here to do the maintenance back when I lived down south, so it got snowed on, and the snow melted, turned to ice, got snowed on over and over, and then it just kind of got shitty. This was a spare tarp that I had when I was building the cabin. I had to stretch this over the cabin to prevent rain from getting on it when I was gone. It didn't really work, but, you know, whatever. So this place is pretty small. It's 8x6. I think the inside clearance is like fucking 5'5". Like, it's pretty... You know, it's really basic. It's just a fucking small building. It's for storage. I mean, no one is going to live here at this fucking point. It's also pretty heavily water damaged due to the broken roof. I'll demonstrate that up here. So yeah, the original camo, you'll see that ripped there. It was getting rained on for the better part of a year. So the floor got kind of fucked up, but it still works. It'll dry out. I got to organize and put some more stuff in here, but right now it's just kind of disparate storage. In the winter, when most of the tools I have are useless, I'm going to store them in here as well. I mean, it's a functional building. It works well. It was just not sealed for a while, so it got kind of fucked up. You know, this is a really nice... is this full of water? Check that real quick. No, it's not. All right, good. So that's a nice axe grinder there. Works real well. I want to convert it to a foot treadle because it's kind of awkward to use this with this handle, but it's better than nothing. If you got two people, it's real easy. Just some general stuff in here. This plane got so damaged by the water that it's fucking useless. Might be able to fix it up, but it's probably just have to go. It's got rained on a bit. I think it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. But yeah, for the most part, it's not that bad in here, especially now that it's sealed up again. So it should start getting better. There's a nice attic space up here too. For additional storage, I got more tarps. This is like bug central during the summer. It's fucking nuts. But it is, you know, extra space for storing things that don't get used as much. So yeah, I keep forgetting that this tarp's here. I need that for something. Like I said, right now this isn't very useful because it's been fucking rained on for the last year, but now that it's fixed, I'm probably going to start using it more to clean out the garbage. You know, just generally fucking make it less shitty. Coming up here is a bridge that I made. Now, when we first bought this property, a lot of areas were inaccessible because it ran through these swampy low areas here. And during the summer when it was real dry, I came through and I cut down some paths that actually connected all the areas together in a nice way. Now, when I built this path, this entire area was completely bone dry. Now with the 2 weeks of rain, it's saturated over again. This was real flooded the other day, but it's, you know, calming back down again. I'll eventually put a small footbridge here, and then mound up these areas with more sticks and dirt, and it should be good to keep it going. I'll demonstrate what I mean by the bridge. But you just want some passage of water so it doesn't flow over like that, doesn't saturate like this. But for the most part, this method has worked relatively well. Like I said, you can kind of see the construction here. I just laid down sticks, and then on top of it, I laid down dirt. I'll show the quarry sites. Excuse me, the quarry sites. It's a little muck right now, but I mean, like up here, this is all still good. Here's the first quarry site. So this was all the dirt that was used to make that path that I just showed you. We use it for a bonfire. We got some stuff there. But yeah, this dirt right here is from putting the dirt on that path. Now this was this area was like this naturally. There's like not much grass growth here. A lot of exposure to the sun, which I think is what causes it. There's this tree right here. Usually, is this yeah, it's a pine tree. That's I think a red, yeah, red pine. That causes the ground to be pretty acidic. So I'm pretty sure that combined with the heavy sun load causes this area to just be kind of dead. So I just took the grass out, or fuck me, I took the dirt out of here because there wasn't that many roots, and it was just generally easy. So that was pretty good. I'll probably take from this again next time. Now this back here is a channel that runs all the way over to the very northwest side of the property, which is near where the cabin is. It's a very convenient passageway because when we move large or heavy materials that are, you know, hundreds of pounds, we load them up on a canoe and then take them down here like this. Then we can just walk them in over there, compared to walking a quarter mile with hundreds of pounds of materials over and over again. This cuts it down to maybe, I don't know, like 100 yards of walking. So things like water for the animals and all that makes it real easy to get. Things for construction, easy to take down here. Just really glad this is here in general. This is really nice. This was all dry before it rained for those 2 weeks. We were afraid that it would get so low that we couldn't actually get back here, but it was just high enough that we could get back here. But this is more representative of what it looked like back in the spring when the snow all melted. But yeah, it's a really beautiful area. Really glad this is here. It makes my job a lot easier. This is the second quarry site that I used for the second path that I'll show you in a minute. It got flooded with water. I don't know if this is actually, you know, water that flooded in here and can't drain, or if this is the actual water table height. So over there is a swamp. So I don't really know what this water is in here. It'd be cool if this was, you know, groundwater. I could use it for some stuff, but I really don't know. You'll notice this isn't nearly as large as the other quarry because this path isn't as long. But so this is the first path I built. This was more important because it connected two areas that desperately needed to be connected because of that channel that ran back there. This is a little bit better. It's still pretty wet right now. I gotta add another layer of sticks and dirt, like I said. But here's the bridge. Real simple. I just cut down some birch trees or some kind of alder, I'm not too sure. Cut them in half and then laid them on two of them. So essentially just acts like a bridge. Once I mount up another layer of sticks and dirt, this should work out real well because it'll be high enough that it won't block the water from flowing. Right now it's right at about the level where it's kind of blocking it. And the advantage of doing that is that the water then all congregates here and then flows out like this, as opposed to saturating like in the other area and then just overflowing the path, which makes it, you know, hard to pass. But that's what I'll be doing over there come the spring. All right, welcome to the pen. This is where all the creatures live. So we got 3 Shetland sheep here. One's 3, one's 4, one's 9. That's the mom of those 2 actually. And we got 2 alpine goats here. This one's 4, I believe, and then this one is, I think 18 weeks, 18 to 20 weeks, I'm not too sure. But this is an alpine boar cross. He's 25% boar. You'll see it in his face. He's got kind of, compared to her, he's got kind of a long face. Kind of funny looking. Now, what's interesting is that they've grown this cashmere coat Their hair has gotten significantly longer now that winter is approaching and the temperatures are dropping. Let me just get in here. I'll show you what I mean. Make sure they got food too, I'm not sure. What are you neighing about? Alright. So, yeah, they got longer coats. Their hair used to be just to the skin, just to the skin, you know, just barely above it. But now it's probably, I'd say, 1/4 inch from the skin. So it's pretty neat. So here's the first structure that we built for them. This is for the goats. I think the sheep use it too. I'm not entirely sure. This tarp's new. Gabe got this for free from work, and got a little area down here. It works really well, especially now that this tarp's over it. They like it. We gotta put more straw down in there. This is the beginning of the next structure that we're going to be building for the sheep, so they can, you know, survive the winter here. It's same construction as that. We just haven't put the sideboards on it yet, and we add another 3 pallets like this, like an L. This camera's really zoomed in. I don't understand why. We put one on top, and then we stretch something over it to make sure that water doesn't get in, snow, whatever it is. So right now, because the sheep really, the sheep right now, they don't really feel the urge to use a building. They just kind of exist. Like, we built this for them. They didn't care, and they just hang out over under those trees. I guess because they got wool on them. They don't really give a shit. But yeah, unfortunately, this area got really overgrazed because this is the only paddock we have right now, because we don't have the money to build a second one. Next spring, though, we're saving up, me and Gabe. We're going to be going in together over there on that other segment. We'll be building a second paddock so we can separate them out, so that way they don't overgraze this area and, you know, kill everything. But you know, right now it's going all right. I have to cut them grass a lot. Get off of me. I have to cut them grass a lot, but you know, it's not too bad. Coming up in the time of year where you know, leaves are falling off the trees, things are dying, so it's really not that big of a deal. This is a feeder that we built for them. It's just a 55-gallon bucket with some netting on it, and you know, it's just to prevent them from drawing out the stuff and wasting it on the ground. They still do it a little bit, you know, but you know, it's not too crazy. It would be worse if you just fucking put it out. And this is all freshly cut grass, so it doesn't really matter if it gets wet. Dried hay, you can't let that get wet. Once that becomes an issue, we're going to be putting some lids on these. We're going to be making a second one too. What do you want? That's their watering container. We haven't had to fill it for like 2 weeks because of all this rain, which is nice. First fire pit over here. This is before this area got used for this. It's pretty cool. It's still there. I light fires here every now and then. In the winter, I'm probably going to be using it to heat water in wash bins. So, yeah. And unfortunately, like, this area is... Shut up, man. This area is not too pretty right now. Just because it's, you know, like I said, it's so overgrazed. It's kind of ridiculous. But next year, it'll all come back, and we'll have a second paddock, so it won't be too bad. So, I'm not too worried about it. Coming up here, Mom's on the right. She's 9. She's at the end of her life. We'll be culling her probably middle or end of this month, just to reduce the flock size for the winter. You know, it's just something you got to do. But yeah, this is a barn type structure that Gabe's currently building. I've been helping him with it. A lot of scrap material that I've had laying around. He just kind of put together. He got these tarps free from work because he works at a fabric factory. Ignore these ones, these aren't part of the structure. But let's move this rock out of the way. And inside, we got our cart of materials, some tools, just some stuff in general. Back in the day, we just had this cart and we put a tarp over it just so it wouldn't, you know, fucking get wet. But, you know, now we've got this whole building yurt kind of thing. It's kind of offensive to call it a building, but, you know, it's pretty good. Use some really high quality vinyl tarps. They'll hold up to whatever fucking happens. Roof's got to get reinforced a little bit, but you know, not too much, not too crazy. We're probably gonna add some more support beams here, just to handle the snow load. But yeah, this eventually there'll be a milking stand back here. One of those little things you can put not lambs, sheep in to incapacitate them, so you can shear them and all that. Just some stuff in general. But yeah, right now there's not too much in here. Just basically better version of what we had before. And eventually we will connect the paddock to this, so we can lead them in there real easy. And, you know, milk them, shear them, whatever we got to do. So that's about it. I think I covered most everything. Made the front of the place look a little nicer. Got in the season a little bit. Like this pumpkin with this foot trap on it. I think it's kind of neat. But yeah, just having a good day. Making things happen. And I'd say I got a pretty good lot here. Oh, motherfucker just got out. Well, I gotta solve that. I'll talk to you guys later. Sorry if I look a little bit fucked up. It's been a long day. I haven't showered, you know. So, there's a few things in the last few recordings I didn't make completely clear. I figured I'd just clear some stuff up, just so everyone knows what's going on. So I didn't talk at all about the chickens because I was fucking retarded. I don't know why I forgot to talk about them. I guess I'm just used to them, so I just kind of forget about it. So the red ones are Rhode Island Reds. Very common egg-laying breed. They're a decent size. They're decent for meat, but they're not as good as other meat breeds, but they're good as a hybrid breed. But they're one of the best egg-laying breeds that are out there, aside from the commercial breeds, which I personally don't raise because I find them unethical. But, so yeah, we got 10 Rhode Island Reds out there and 9 Jersey Giants, and those are the white ones. There's only 9 of them because one of them died in the first week due to shipping stress. I'd prefer to avoid shipping birds in the future. It doesn't seem like a very good idea to me. But you know, I wasn't really in a position where I had a choice. I had to do something. No one locally was selling chicks, so yeah, had to do it. So what are you gonna do? Oh man, long day, very tired. So yeah, that's what's up with that. I think I did the math. I think they're about 13 weeks old. It's been about a week since I did the math, so I think they're about 13 weeks old. Generally, they go to market at 16 to 18 weeks, so we're just about out from that. And then the females become fertile at about 20 weeks. So that's all coming up. I don't expect to get any eggs until swing of the year. What apparently activates their cycle of laying is when the days get longer, and they're going to keep getting shorter for quite a while until we hit the equinox. Then they're going to get longer, and they'll hopefully get them to start laying near turn of the year, probably a bit after that, but hopefully before spring. I'm not too sure yet. We're gonna have to see. Maybe it'll be earlier. I don't know. I gotta get rid of most of the males because roosters are very aggressive and they'll just kill each other. So you gotta kind of step in and do that. I got a good 50-50 mix, so I'll be eating a lot of good chicken meat. Apparently, it's the dark meat. If you're into the dark meat, on these boys is going to be better because that's the vascular system that carries the blood is more developed in these types of birds than in factory-raised birds because they actually get to move around and shit, which develops those dark meat muscles. So I like dark meat a lot, so I'm pretty happy about that. Like I said, I'll probably be getting quite a few pounds of meat coming up here pretty soon, so I'm pretty happy about that. Because I could really go for some chicken right about now. God damn. So that's that with the chickens. I added some ventilation. I might take a picture or something of it. I don't know. It's really not that big of a deal. I just took a floor register and stuck it on the wall. Looks kind of stupid, but Oh, fuck, it works. I can't believe I thought of that. That was one of the best ideas I've ever had. That was fucking brilliant. Um, so anyways, with the goats, we got the buckling, which Alpine boar, and then we got the doe, which is just 100% Alpine. I don't recall offhand when the bucks become of age and are fertile, but eventually they will breed and we'll begin that flock. I projecting that it's going to be at the earliest in the early spring because they have a gestation period of about 4 months, and there is no way that he is going to breed that fucking doe for at least another few months unless something weird happens. I have no idea, but I think we're safe on that. We don't want any winter births because that can be complicated. Someone has to be here. Fortunately, my hours decrease in the winter, so in case of emergency, I can be around for that. I'll be keeping an eye out. You can feel their stomachs. You can kind of figure out if they're pregnant or not. But other than that, we got the sheep. We got the mom coming up here. We're gonna be culling her because she's just old and she's not fertile anymore, and she's probably gonna die in another year anyways of complications. So we don't really have much of a choice. The other two, we'll be getting a ram next year, probably in the spring or summer, and the ram will breed them up, and we'll continue the flock that way. It's going to get kind of complicated because apparently you can't keep a ram and a billy goat together because the fucking ram will kill the goat. So we'll have to figure that one out. I think because there's such a size discrepancy, like this ram, excuse me, this billy, once he's full size, is going to be like my fucking weight. We're talking like 160 pounds. So that's pretty fucking intense. And these Shetlands are like 50 pounds, 60 pounds. So we're talking like double the weight. I don't think, even if they've got a better horn structure, I don't think they could kill the fucking buck. I have no idea. We're going to have to kind of play it by ear. That's what Gabe has told me, so I don't know. So that's the plan with all that. We're hoping to multiply some stuff coming up here. Right now, it's just a long, kind of a long waiting game. Trying to build up money, trying to get resources, trying to get shit rolling. But winter's coming up. You can't really do anything in the winter, so just gotta wait it out, survive. It's what you do. Other than that, I think that's all I needed to say. Yeah, you guys have a good one.